What's going on, guys? So it was brought to my attention that a member of the community, Jpie, made a message mainly directed at Strange Matter Studios and Fault. I started listening to it a little bit, and I gotta say, just from the little bit that I heard, I quite frankly agree with Jpie. I'm going to listen to the rest of this video here with you guys. I'll give you my thoughts and feedbacks on the things that he says, and then we're gonna go from there. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jpie, and I want Fault to succeed. Now, as a consumer, I don't have a horse in the Predecessor Fault race. I only know one thing.
See, I gotta say, off rip, letting us know that, like, hey, I want them to succeed. So be mindful, the shit you hear is constructive criticism. And I like the fact that he also points out the fact that he's a consumer, so he's not necessarily tied down.
Which succeeding is best for consumers? Is it Fault or is it Predecessor? If you said Predecessor, you're wrong. And if you said Fault, you're wrong.
That's so true.
As consumers, it's best if both games and both studios succeed.
See, I heard this and I was like, yo, quite frankly, Jpie is on some new shit. Here, let me make my camera a little bit smaller here. Jpie right now is on some real shit, and this is things that we've covered on stream. We've covered these in some you know, some other videos in the past, but it's 100% accurate. Like, you gotta be mindful. At the end of the day, we can't sit here and be like, oh, I want this one to succeed, I want that one to succeed. Fuck that. If you are literally that narrow-minded, Lord help you. You feel me? At this point, we want them all to succeed.
Nothing is going to bring about a more refined,
because he does go into it here a little bit,
from a studio than a rival competitor. They will
by the way, guys, if you guys have not already, go to Jpie's channel, give him a follow, go to the original video, leave a like. I'm gonna link the original video down below so you can not only go like that video, rewatch it if you want, and then from there subscribe to this man.
Constantly outdo each other for our money and time. And so, Strange Matter Studios, I hope you take my message into consideration. Let us begin. Allow me to paint you a picture. You are browsing the Steam store, looking for a new MOBA, looking all handsome.
I love this.
But your style?
This video representation
passé
is amazing.
I mean, I know you're trying your best, but try harder, dude. You know, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, shiny MOBA catches your eye.
I love how the MOBA section is the toilet paper. Lamau.
And then it hits you. You say, goodness gracious, this is $20. Can't afford that. And so you put it back and pick up another MOBA and go on your merry way. The story of monetization in Fault. Focus on monetization over.
Now, Jpie goes over this, right? He's actually, because I watched about like a third of the way through the video, so he's gonna touch on this a little bit. But as I've mentioned before, at this point where Fault stands, I think that they're hurting themselves by still being in a paid early access. Because I understand it's like, oh, we want to have it more refined, we want to have a better product before it gets released. But at this stage that they're at right now, being arguably the only true indie developer at this point that isn't tied down to any big brother or investors or whatever, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by not opening the doors towards new players, regardless if there's things to be worked on. It's a MOBA. It's always going to be a work in progress. I think at this point, they've gotten into a good enough stage where it's like, hey, peel off the fucking Band-Aid, let people come in, fix the player base, and with a better and bigger player base, you can actually fix some of those core problems even faster because you're going to get more data. But let's keep watching here.
For functionality and growing the player base is a mistake. I understand money is critical to development costs, but so is brand image and consumer trust. Ultimately, if you have no one playing your game, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Without a healthy casual player base, there is no competitive player base. Without a healthy casual player base, there is no MOBA.
True.
In the first month,
the casual player base
of the player
is
base.
the 99% that's going to fund your game.
Ever since. Yes, in the last 30 days, there is an uptick, which I hope is the reversal of the trend. But that remains to be seen. And even if it is a reversal of the trend, for how long? Some of the game's biggest problems are directly related to not having a large enough player base. In August, you guys limited 5-stack. Name a single MOBA that has ever limited 5-stack or teaming up with friends. If it was functionally broken,
yeah,
then that's
that hurt.
Different issue.
That hurt the community. Limiting 5-stacking, for sure.
Because as you
they did change
it,
it, but
the reason why you limited 5-stacking is because you understood the players were unhappy. Why were they unhappy? The only way 5-stacking can ruin the experience for that much of the player base is if the player base is tiny. 5-stacking is in full swing now, and the player base is about as small as it has ever been. The problem is still there, so what has changed? Did the people who complain just move on to something else?
Yo, can I just say, Jpie uses some dramatic ass music in this fucking video. Shout out to Jpie.
Maybe. Did the people who still play just give up voicing their criticism? Perhaps. What remains is the problem and the cause of the problem. So, SMS, did you truly understand? Also, is there a reason why the people who spent money on Founders and Masters packs don't even have access to the game? I hate to tell you guys who purchased those packs, but if you just bought the base game, you would have unlocked all the heroes pretty quickly. You also wouldn't be denied playing the game. SMS, this is punishing people who wanted to support you. The incentives you created here are beyond my understanding. And just for posterity, much of your initial early access controversy were because of these packs.
I will say, in the beginning, there was a Steam error where, like, for example, you see how here on the screen, you see base game and founder pack is included in the founder pack bundle. In the beginning, it wasn't like that. So you actually had a shit ton of people buy a master's pack. They bought a founder's pack just for the extra cost, and it didn't include the base game. Now, to Strange Matter Studios' credit, they lost out on money and they said, you know what? It was a Steam mistake, but we're going to honor it. We'll give you the base game for free. Now, that's to their credit. They did that. They lost out on a bit of change. But I gotta say, bro, like, I personally, I don't necessarily go through this because being a fall partner, I get access to all the characters so I can show them all off, make videos on them, etc., right? But if I had to play this game, and regardless, if my initial impression were you start this game, limited characters, we might have 1 or 2 on a rotation, but limited characters, or instead of paying $20, you can pay $60 and we'll give you all the characters. I'll be real with you. It sounds tempting, so I don't have to grind to play another character. But at the same time, I'm just like, bro, like, I really think it would be wiser, because it's okay to monetize unlocking extra characters, etc. Plenty of other MOBAs do it, right? Smite does it, League of Legends does it, etc. But I really think that this base version should be just free. You want to grind, pay us with your time. And then you want to unlock these extra characters? Bam, there you go. Pay for these upgraded packs. You get extra characters, you get extra coins, etc. You're welcome. The fact that it's $20 and then some, I just don't understand why it's taking this long. Because at this point, the game should have been fully released already per their expectations. Things happen, you know, who knows? But at the end of the day, I really do think that the core problem of these packs isn't even just pay to unlock the characters, right? That's always an option. But it's an option that it just sucks that you have to pay regardless in a MOBA to even play. Granted, paid early access, that's kind of common nowadays. But I think at this point, they're hurting themselves, man. Let's see.
Let me show you, because the numbers do not lie. There you can see, again, 60% of the player base dropping off 1 month. Listen, we can't change the past. We can only hope to change the future.
True.
That is why I am shocked you've refused to remove the paywall that would help alleviate these issues, among others.
See, I also think bigger issue, it's not the fact that they refuse to remove the paywall, because they've admitted they will eventually. I think the bigger issue is not being clear about when that paywall is going to come down. Because beforehand, we had a roadmap that said free to play first quarter 2021. Bruh, we're about to start third quarter 2021 here, like in a month and a half, and we still have no idea when the game is going to be free to play. So quite frankly, Strange Matters, if you're listening to this, clarity is needed, even if it's just a rough estimate. Like, yo, game will be free to play by the end of 2021. Or kind of like they did with the patch 13, where they were like, hey, aiming for March, maybe April. Okay, we got a rough estimate to kind of work with. I can dig it. We can talk about it a little bit. I know what to expect. But right now, I honestly, like, here's the thing. I'm a fault partner, right? I am in no way, like, obligated to talk good for them and everything, but with the amount of access that I have zero fucking idea when this game is going to be free to play. On a daily basis, I get asked, when is the game going to go free to play? You know how much it sucks to be a partner and I'm looking at people and be like, I don't know. Oh, you'll know when I know, bro. And the fact that I know just a little bit beforehand, maybe like a week at tops 2 before shit goes down, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, not only do I not like the fact that partners are kept out of the loop until it's necessary, but I also don't like the fact that it's just in general, the entire community is out of the loop. Like, it's missed opportunities. They really could easily be like, hey, partners, here's the information. A week from, let's say in a month from now, a week from now, whatever the hell, you guys can go live on this day, and from this day forward say, hey, this is what they're aiming for to be free to play. Now, the fact that stuff like that hasn't been done just leads me to believe that they don't know when the game is going to go free to play. They might have an idea they're aiming for, but that just leads me to believe that they're not sure either, if they are not willing to say anything concrete. Which, again, I just don't understand it, because let's say they're aiming for August. I hope it's not that long, but who knows? Let's say they're aiming for August for free to play. They should just tell everybody, all right, so we're aiming for October. Fuck it, bro. Give yourself some wiggle room. Sometimes shit happens. And then, what is it? Under promise, over deliver? Come on.
Please understand, most people are not willing to shell out $20 for a game that they may or may not enjoy. In some countries, this price tag amounts to 1/3 of their weekly paycheck.
Bro, we live in a time and age that $20 for a game is expensive. We live in a day where, like, I kid you not, if a game isn't free, it's already like, you know, free. We live in a freeze for me type of society right now. $20 for a game that you may or may not like, I wouldn't buy it. I'd play, I'll be honest with you, 100%. Any game out there that's $20 and I'm not sure whether I'll like it or not, I'm only gonna play if a friend buys it for me. Straight up. Straight up. You come out here and tell me, hey, there's this new shooter, you're really gonna like it, it's $20. I'm like, I'm gonna be real with you, I'm probably gonna go play some Apex instead. That's free and I'm still having fun. It's rough, but it really does hurt people. And the whole $20 is 1/3 of their weekly paycheck. Bro, that's not wrong. Like, you know, being mindful that, you know, I'm from USA, I'm in Florida. We're, you know, in a good spot, the majority of us, to where $20 might just mean you don't get McDonald's for 2 weeks or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people out there that's like, yo, I'm gonna be real with you. I can't buy the 20. I'm not gonna spend $20 on a game that I might not like. I'm just gonna spend $20 on a game that I do like. I'll just buy some DLC or something. Like, it's the fact that you're fighting for an individual's time and money, and you have to be the reason. And if you haven't given them a reason besides, we're a Paragon remake or Paragon successor, if that's the only reason, that's not like, or low key, I don't know if I would pay the $20 for any of these games, for any of them, quite frankly. That's just my 2 cents.
These people want to play your game. They want to spend time in your game.
True.
They can't sacrifice their livelihood in the process. And somehow you cannot see the benefits of lowering the barrier of entry into your game. As if being a niche MOBA isn't enough of an uphill battle.
I just think Strange Matters is afraid
paywall up for long enough
of not being ready, but I don't ever think they're going to be ready. A good example would be Strange Matter Studios had a baby. That baby's called Fault. Were they ready for that baby? Probably not. Who the fuck ever is? You feel me? And now they're like, oh, I don't know if I should, you know, let my kid go to school. I don't think they're ready for that. Fuck it, bro. It's not about being ready. It's about adapting, adopting, continuing, progressing.
1 year. It would be.
Yo, again, shout out to Jpie for this great fucking video. Shout out to Jpie.
I understand.
This is a very well made video.
There's no end in sight. It's up in the air and no one on the outside knows a thing. SMS, you have to go free to play to build your player base back up. You're a third-person MOBA, which is a niche genre within the MOBA genre. Your competition is fierce. Dota, League, Smite, and soon Overprime, Ethereal, and most of all, your rival competitor, Predecessor. Put on your big boy pants because we're about to get dead serious.
Okay. Serious talk moment, I like it.
If you compare Fault's closed beta to Predecessor's closed alpha, which are similar points in the development cycle, Predecessor had a much more refined product. SMS, you are behind. But that doesn't mean you cannot catch up. You have to consider the long haul.
That's a good point.
Consider your advantages. If you think going free to play 2 weeks before Predecessor is going to work, God bless you.
Yeah,
Personally,
no.
I would lean into
that would
the
not be
fact
good.
That you're not beholden to investors. If Predecessor fails to return investments, they're going to have pressure from their investors to maybe take the game in a direction that they don't want to. The overall product can suffer as a result.
That's very true. We've gone over that before, but having a big brother, having investors that you have to report to, you have to literally, you have to provide results for, is rough. Is rough. If you don't provide returns, they now have a say in how the game goes. I don't know how much of a say, but they have a say. You feel me? Being a community driven company and game, that's a lot. That's big. But with that in mind, being a community driven game without a solid community, what does that say? Now, granted, there is already a community, but it's not as big and as solidified as it could be. And I really do think by this point that paywall is a major reason. I can't convince some of my friends to play for 20 bucks. I can buy the game for some of my friends for 20 bucks. And because I bought it for them, they might try a game or two and then they'll be like, you know what? It's for me, or you know what? I really like it. But it still took like low key, I've dished out hundreds, over $300 in $20 copies of this game, not only to support the company, but to get friends to try the game. Some have stayed, some have not. But not everybody is in that position. Worth mentioning. Go ahead.
You don't have that kind
Let's see what Jpie says here next.
burden. Think of the long game and think of the long haul. You need to build up the healthiest player base that you possibly can, because will your game even survive the initial storm of Predecessor's release? They are on track to release and go free to play by the end of Q4 of this year, the latest. Unless anything changes, unless they make an announcement, that's the timeline that you have.
Which I gotta say again, under promise, over deliver. At the latest, Predecessor says that they're gonna be out Q4. They might be out sooner, who knows, depending on workflow.
What
do I believe that that Fault could, like, honestly, if Fault really wanted to, they could literally be like, all right, so July 15th, 1 year anniversary after early access opened up, then they'll go free to play. That would kind of be on the smarter side, gives them a little bit of extra time. It's about a month and a half away. They could do, they could do something with that, you know, kind of play with the timeline. Oh, you know what, we want to honor our 1 year anniversary, blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I do think that the Fault, regardless, will survive whichever one of these games comes out. But I honestly do feel like they might be damaged if they don't go free to play soon enough. Like their how do I put it this way? Their boat will have a hole on the side that they're going to be working on fixing, but while they're working on fixing it, they can't actually go anywhere. If that makes sense. That's how I feel.
Until then, what do you do? Do you continue on this path that the results speak for themselves, that your player base is constantly bleeding out? Or do you actually take your fate into your own hands? Because, you know, oh yeah, you can throw money in marketing. Guess what? You're going to get an influx of players, but once you stop shelling out money for marketing, that influx is going to stop. Then what's going to carry you? Listen.
That's a good point.
It's simple.
Hoping that the game grows from a little bit of investment is rough.
The next best time, SMS, right now. Thank you.
Bro, shout out to Jpie. That was a dope fucking video. Actually, everybody go subscribe to this guy. But yeah, guys, quite frankly, I don't disagree with Jpie. I was actually just talking about this again the other day on stream. Again, it's really one of those things that I think patch 13 isn't the patch, but I think it was a patch needed to go in the right direction. Now that they're in the right direction, I really think they should remove that initial play wall, let players in, grow the community, especially now after they did this hard MMR ELO reset. Because quite frankly, with such a small community, I personally don't believe there should be any skill-based matchmaking. Change my mind. But I'd like to hear what you guys thought about this video, about the subject in general, down in the comments down below. Leave a like for the YouTube algorithm if you please. That really does help a lot. Consider subscribing to myself and Jpie for the content, because quite frankly, this is a great fucking video. And as always, till the next one.